DreamHack ASTRO Open is brought to you by Astro Gaming, Monster Energy, and Zowie.
Welcome back, everyone, to Leipzig. Day one of DreamHack ASTRO Open Leipzig is underway. 4 teams already committed. In fact, 6 teams have already committed. That's not one of them, though. Nice walking of the doggies in the middle of Leipzig. This is what they're playing for, the serious stuff. It is $100,000 and a brand new handcrafted trophy for DreamHack Open 2017. We are back in the studio once more, where there's been a little bit of a debate going on in the break right now as to which one of us is the saucer. Because we've had a tweet from Follow DMGZ. I just want to point out, thank you very much for your tweet. We love your tweets, so do tweet at us. And he says, awesome panel, I agree. 2 1.6s and a saucer. So guess what we've been arguing about in the break with Sponge and Lurpis?
Well, it has to be me.
Has to be, right?
I guess, unless it's you.
Well, how could it be?
I don't
you
know.
could then call me a condition zeroer.
It can't be Tommy.
Can't be Tommy. He hated Sauce.
Yeah, and then he hated CSGO in the beginning too.
He did.
Well, it was a bad game.
It was a bad game.
It was a terrible game. Yeah.
Even
they kind of fixed it, right?
Even the players, yeah, they did. It's a good game now. But back then, even the players who were the best at the game told me in private conversations that they've since tried CS Source and they loved it.
And they
in comparison.
Wow.
There wasn't
That's
even
saying
private
something,
conversations. It was just, we all hate it. So.
Yeah, well, they were in like public to the public audience conversations.
Yes, indeed.
Not particularly well hidden
so we're
either.
okay with the 1.6 to seize the saucer then, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I was catching up with the players, talking about who's going to be good at the major, getting some inside information from who's doing well, how's Navi playing, but you guys settled this. Maybe we'll flip a coin.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's get back into it and show you the groups as they stand right now. We have had 6 of our matches so far. As you can see in Group A, we already know what our upper bracket and lower bracket finals look like. Heroic coming through 16-8 with fair amount of ease against QWERTY earlier on, and LDLC just coming through 16-5 a moment ago against Fnatic Academy. So those two, Heroic and LDLC, will play off for the first place in Group A and a place in the semi-finals. Group B looks like this. Earlier on today, we saw Flipside taking out Big. They struggled a little bit on their flipping round on the sides, and it was 16-11 in the end. Big putting up a good fight. We'll see how our final match pans out as we head into that one to find the winner, who will play Flipside in the upper bracket of Group B. And we'll move into that matchup right now. Vega Squadron versus Rogue. I think this one's going to be quite interesting for a number of reasons. Do you want to expand on Vega Squadron a little bit?
Yeah, so they're the ones that won a map against NIP.
Yeah.
So that has
come on.
to
Can we not just
No.
Can we build it up a bit more?
To be completely honest, these guys in this team, they've played in like they played the minors in the CIS region, right?
Yes.
We actually, when I say we, when I was in Renegades, we played against Chopper when he was in Fluffy Gangsters at the ESL.
One of the all-time team names.
Yeah, Fluffy. Yeah, almost as good as China Top. And we played them on Mirage, and it was actually more challenging than I thought it would be. So if they can get Mirage versus Rogue, I know we're getting way too ahead of ourselves. I think they have a chance. Other than that, I have not too high hopes really for them. I think it'll be a close game because Rogue are another team. Well, this is the mixture of some leftover Danish players and some players from Mortal Kombat, and they went by plenty of other names. That was their name, Mortal Kombat, MK. And they decided, hey, we don't want to play with our brethren, and we're going to go make some weird mix. And it's a bit of a funky team. They just came off the victory.
The Dengarians. We're going to get into the Dengarians in just a minute, but first up, let's have a look at Vega Squadron's team. This was the team, of course, as we pointed out earlier on, played fantastically well against NIP in the E-League qualifiers. Tommy, you've got more faith in this team than Sponge here does, haven't you?
Well, it certainly seems so.
I mean overall for the whole tournament, this matchup, it's a 50-50.
Okay.
Sure. I think I wasn't.
He's having none of that. Sure.
I wasn't really on board with the whole NIP win at the time of the major qualifier. Yep. But then when I talked to people and they said that these guys they've actually been good online. That's the point that I made earlier. Like they have like the potential sort of to some level. They just haven't executed on it, except for the NIP game. And this is the next time after. Now it depends on I would assume that these guys have just gone home and decided, hey guys, you know, we could actually be pretty good at this game, because people forget they actually had a very good game against Envious right after the NIP game.
Yeah.
That was fairly close.
Yeah.
They could have actually knocked Envious out of the major as well. So that was sort of the proof of concept to me, the second close game. So it wasn't just one game where NIP admittedly didn't play very well. Obviously, this is the true test sort of for Vega, in the sense that this is the kind of teams that they need to be beating to be considered a good team. If they bomb out of here, then you just must look at the previous results and say the NIP win was a fluke. Maybe the NVS game was a fluke. NVS isn't in good shape, blah, blah, blah. And maybe this team isn't that interesting. But if they come out here, if they get a win against Rogue, maybe they beat someone in a best of 3 tomorrow, then that's a whole other ball game. And I think that's what I'm looking forward to seeing here. They just look very, very promising in the NIP game, and then in the NVS game. They have definitely some individual skill on their side, and I think that's sort of what you need against Rogue, because they have skill, but they are the more structured here. So that, again, is the comparison, the contrast in the styles of these teams.
Let's move our attention across to Rogue right now and show you their lineup as they line up in this 5-man team, going head-to-head with Vega Squadron in their first match here at DreamHack Open Leipzig. What do you make of them, Sponge?
I'm just curious if there's any language barrier. I know it's like, but the Danish.
It is an odd mix, isn't it? You don't usually see this kind of mix.
It's very random. This isn't what you'd expect, right?
Where they play with Germans, they play with Dutch, English, Swedish. We see a lot of that kind of sort of North European kind of mix, but never this.
From my experience, Danish people generally speak very good English. The language is Danish is Germanian language, so it's sort of similar. It's easy to pick up.
And Bulgarians, for that matter, as well, speak very good English.
Okay, that was the question that I was going to pose, because I know the Danish people speak good English. If the Bulgarians do as well, then I assume the communication is going to be fairly good. But with that being said, I'll say that even when I went to EG, when I first moved over, I spoke good English, probably as good as anybody on that team, and it took me a month or two to really get up to speed, because it's different to speak good English and be able to say everything in a couple milliseconds when it happens, which can be the difference in the game.
Wasn't that just because they named everything in every map differently to the way we did in Europe?
Well, that too, but it also just has to sort of come naturally. You can't think about anything.
And with natural English-speaking comms, we have to repeat everything 6 times. So if they're rushing B, they're going B, they're going B, and you have to do it. Otherwise, you're not calling it properly, and you don't want to give your teammates a chance to actually hear anything.
It's so true.
So
we're
pretty
played
good at that.
together before. We played on the same team.
Probably. Another really cool fact about Rogue is they're sponsored by Steve Aoki, right? Is that the team?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. Not a applicable one to Counter-Strike, but no, I think like Cadian, you know, we've seen him as a star in the past. That team, we've got the 2 guys from Bulgaria who their team was actually quite good. You know, they're looking like decent within the top 20, so they're trying a new approach. Got the veto here.
One thing I'll just say on Rogue while we look at the veto is their MVP by far in LA for the ESEA Global Challenge Tournament was Tensky, which I thought was very surprising. I thought he would be sort of the role player on that team, most definitely not the star player. So I'm curious to see if that continues here, if he's maybe sort of stepping up his game, because he was sort of the weak link in Dignitas, and when he got replaced by Magis, their level of play just skyrocketed basically. So I'm curious to see how he does here.
There could have been like a problem with overlapping of roles when he was in.
No, of course not. But that's what you don't really know before, unless you know the players very well.
It's good to see if he gets like a chance to be the star in this team, if he can pick it back up, because that Danish team, it's so deep. Like the amount of players and the amount of skill in that scene is unreal.
So Rogue vetoed Cash first. That was the map they beat NIP on, and Dust 2 second. That was the map they played well against NVS on. So they've at least watched the major qualifier from home, if nothing else.
They've done a little bit of prep. Apparently there's been a coaching change in this team. I've been told that they fired their coach or got rid of their coach and brought in a new one like last night, Lome. He is now their new coach apparently.
Just overnight.
Don't quote me on that. And it's Overpass. Rogue beat LDLC on Overpass, right? At the SCA event.
And Overpass is a good map for LDLC. That's also been a very good map for Existence historically on an individual level. So, I mean, that probably means that they're at least reasonably good on that map. But at the same time, the problem with Vega is, will they have any idea how Vega plays?
Probably not.
Anything to go off by? So then Vega can sort of use that to their advantage too if they're smart about it, because they can do the sort of somewhat surprising stuff. I mean, you don't want to start off with that because they're going to be watching out for that early on.
Yeah.
But you can later on in the half spice up your game, and there's no way Rogue's going to be ready for some of the stuff that you can pull off.
Well, the fun thing with a map like this is a couple of like gamble plays or gimmicky set executes or CT boosts, or, you know, one-way smokes or whatever. It gets the ball rolling, and once the ball's rolling, you know, you catch a team who may have been confident and now they're off guard and now they're second-guessing themselves and they're not ready. They don't know what you're going to throw at them. This is what happens with a team like Vega, who are relatively unknown to us on the competitive side of things, but maybe in practice, you know, they know what to expect.
Yeah, Tommy, you mentioned that they've been great online, and a lot of other teams have been saying the same thing. Every time they played them online, played them in practice and scrims, they've said, actually, they're a decent team. They seem to be quite strong. So how do they transfer that to LAN tournaments?
Well, it depends. For some people, it just comes naturally. Some people, they're instantly good when they learn how to play at home. They're instantly good on...
I mean, back when we played on 56k modems and went to LAN, it was much easier because we got better pings, right? These guys play on 1 gig switches at home now. It's worse when they come to LAN.
Yeah, it's a little different. It's a little different for sure. But it's very individualistic. Obviously, the playing styles matter a little bit too, because if you have a structured team where everything sort of works based on something sensible, then it doesn't matter if you don't hit every shot because you have the team play to fall back on and the setups and tactics. But if you're very, very focused on just individual plays, making... I don't know, just taking big risks individually without really any rhyme or reason for it, then that's a whole other ball game, and that can easily go wrong.
Yeah. Especially, if you base like your CT side around aggression and then the players aren't hitting their shots, that's just to elaborate on Tommy's point, then your CT side is going to fall apart because you don't know how to hold properly without the 4v5 advantage, and that can be an issue. Yeah,
and that particularly applies to Overpass because in a weird sort of way, we saw it earlier, didn't we, with Flipside? They were great on T-side, great executes on A in particular, looked like a really dominant force, and then when they switch sides and they're on CT, suddenly they're falling apart and they're all over the place.
Yeah, it's hard to recover, like especially if you trying to, you know you're in the driver's seat and you're maybe just getting a little bit complacent, but it can become hard to recover if it's a close game and the money situation is an issue. And if you can't hold the bomb sites, then you can have a rough time.
We used to talk about which side you started on as being a key factor on some of the maps. Not so much these days because it's sort of, most of the maps are fairly even. Is Overpass one of those though, that you want to start T-side, you want to get the momentum
I've never bought into
You never bought into that?
I've never bought into this thing. It's like...
Even on Nuke? Even in 1.6?
No, because that just means if it's easier, like it only depends how you frame it to yourself. If you start on the super hard half where you maybe only get 3 or 4 rounds, then you just think, okay, it doesn't matter if we start up cold, it doesn't matter if we start up bad, so you have no pressure. Right. You can always frame it. It just depends if you go in, well, like an idiot, and you go in and saying, oh, we need to get 5, you need to get 6, and then you start losing. You're like, oh, and these guys are getting so many rounds, it's going to be so hard to come back. I mean, that's just the wrong way to frame it. So it's all about how you view it within the team. Yeah. I've always, the only really take that I've had that's sort of objective, I think, to starting halves, is I like to start on CT side because on the terrorist side it's easier to force buy. So basically, if you start on the T side, sometimes you'll end up saving a lot because you just think, okay, we need more guns, we need more nades, and we'll have a better chance of winning if we save for a proper buy. But then if, let's say, you lose the CT pistol round, you lose a couple unlucky rounds, then you just think, well, we really could have pushed the envelope on the first half if we just knew that we needed more rounds. And that's a lot harder to do on defense. So that's the only reason that I've always preferred starting on the CT side, regardless of map, even on Dust 2.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, it was starting on the T side because the team Renegades became very slow starting. Like when we start on the CT side, we find ourselves 6-0 down, having to take a pause, and then we get into the game. Take everyone a while to find themselves centered. But on the T side, you're the one kind of picking the fights, right? You're deciding where you want to go. You're setting the pace. Yeah. So with that in mind, you know, the T side was good to help people warm up and maybe put them in their comfort zone a little bit more. If you're playing against a really slow team and you're sitting on the CT side and you're sitting there watching you crosshair for, you know, a whole minute and nothing happens, it can be relatively frustrating, and you get caught off guard by bad timings. Players might tilt, which is something which shouldn't happen, but it definitely does. There are little issues like that. So the T side was good on, like, you know, a map like Cobble, which is almost 50-50 cache as well. I like to start on the T side. Just up to your own opinion, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's very much a feel thing, isn't it? I mean, you know, Tommy's very, very adamant that he didn't really care about that, but I guess some players do. As we wait for these players to get themselves ready up, we'll move on to predictions. Is it a straightforward victory for Vega here, Tommy?
I don't think it's straightforward. I think actually Rogue might be slightly favored. They probably are slightly favored. Say 55-45 with an asterisk because you don't know how good Vega actually is. It's a real question mark still, despite those wins. But since I've been talking about Vega the whole time, and we don't want to have everybody aligning their predictions, I'm looking at the casting staff because they're really just going for the favorite every single time. I'll go with Vega this time around.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Does that open things up? Has that made it easier for you?
No, I should have vetoed. I should have made my prediction first because I was going to go the same way. I think Vega are like more of an unknown quantity, at least from where I'm sitting,
Right.
and I think they're going to have some very interesting gimmicks per se, you know, to catch Rogue offside and run away with it.
Okay.
I really like the use of word gimmicks because I think it's the best way to just capture what some teams do on certain maps.
You need them, right?
I was going to say they're an important part of the play.
No, of course, but I think it's just a very good way to explain some of the plays teams make.
So, like, I think like a team that you obviously need to build your team fundamentally sound first, and then you throw on the gimmicks, and then you have like different moves and stuff.
Yeah.
It's so in depth, but a team who you can see win a best of one just off playing off gimmicks, and that's why a lot of the tier 1 teams hate best of ones because the spanner can get thrown in the works, and then that ruins their whole tournament.
Yeah, but it's on Overpass, which is king of the gimmicks, isn't it? We've seen plenty of
Lots
gimmicks.
of boosts.
Yeah,
Everyone loves
boosts.
a good boost on this map.
A little bit of boost gate.
Hopefully, nothing.
Nothing
flipping.
crazy like that.
Yeah,
You can't imagine.
Did they ever patch up that thing the people at the Czech clan found out where you can do the quad boost on banana and look over to the B side?
That was pretty good.
Yeah,
I don't know if they patched it, but it was.
That's what I'm thinking. Was it ever patched? Could we see that? Which event will we see? Is Fnatic going to do that at the major? Will we see Olaf over there with the auto sniper?
You are just trolling now, Tommy. You're just waiting for one of these players to come out and do one of these crazy boosts.
I'm not trolling. I'm requesting.
Someone could
request
organize
troll.
it. We've already seen, like I think with the land that happened, the ESEA one, and now here we're seeing a lot of overpass, which is weird. I don't know if it's not really a
New Dust 2.
well, hopefully not. I don't really like it. You get way too much territory as CTs.
Well, it comes and goes, right? I think at one point Overpass wasn't played that much at the very top level because SK became quite dominant on it, while Navi was also very good on it, so other teams started shying away. It's sort of how Cash went from being, at one point, the most popular map, to then when Fnatic started dominating on it, everybody was like, well, we don't really want to play that map. And NIP was also good on it. And it sort of just went out. So it's funny to see how the map
work like that.
Yeah,
almost all of them.
No, it's funny to see how the map balance keeps coming and going.
Yeah. I mean, Inferno, we assume, will come in, and then no one will play it.
And Dust 2 will go
And
out.
then
No,
at
everyone
some
will
point-
play Inferno.
Everyone will play Inferno.
Will they? Do you think?
Yeah, everyone will play Inferno.
It's like the best remade map that they've done so far. All they did was like open corridors.
And it was
We did see a huge
also
amount of
probably
nukes,
the
though.
best map. Like, objectively looking, it was probably the best map when it went out.
Yeah.
And it's been improved as far as I'm concerned.
As long as there's more chickens, I don't mind.
They're hard to find, the chickens.
Well, they don't,
aren't they?
Dude, they don't have operations anymore. Valve has given up on that, so you don't have to worry about the chickens. You don't have to chase them. I've chased 200 chickens once, and that was not fun.
Let's check in with our commentary team, who have had a little bit of a freshen up in the booth out there. How are you doing, gents?
Doing good, thanks, Paul.
Good. Nice to see you, Vince. How's
They look
things?
different.
Hello.
Yeah, they changed.
Yeah, they have changed them up. We've got Dust in there as well. Gents, these two reprobates on the panel have gone for Vega Squadron. Are you going to go opposite to them?
It's hard to say, really. Tommy was talking about this before, whether it would be a fluke what happened at the major qualifiers or not. I think this tournament's definitely an opportunity for them to prove a lot of naysayers wrong. I probably would edge with them, however. How about you, Dust? What do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is actually a good map to do it because statistically, this is actually Rogue's worst map offline. So, and we haven't really ever seen Vega Squadron play it, so we don't really know what they're going to be about. So, no, I actually really think that this is like a good opportunity with Overpass for Vega to actually kind of continue maybe getting some wins going.
Are you kidding me? So everybody's bandwagon.
That's
Vega
what I
now?
thought. Like, I wanted to
Fine,
get in
I'll
first.
go.
You gonna change it?
I'll go.
Go
What
Rogue.
did you call them? What was the word?
The Dengarians.
The Dingarians. I'll go with the Dingarians then.
Are you guys on board with the Dengarians?
Yeah, I'm on board with that. It sounds pretty awesome.
It's just a very complicated word that I've...
How long did it take you to come up with that, Paul?
I
Be
was
honest.
watching Game of Thrones yesterday, so actually not that long.
Okay, fair enough.
Little Game of Thrones reference in there. Anyway, we'll leave it to you. Thanks very much, guys. Take us through the final game of the group stage.
Thank you very much, Paul. So, yeah, we are going to be seeing Vega Squadron, how they can come into this event. Obviously, their first game of the day, going to be facing up against Rogue. And they, honestly, the two players they have from Bulgaria, Victor and Bubble, for me, were two of the strongest players out of the previously known as Mortal Kombat, G-Play, E-Frag, whatever you want to call them. Victor in particular is a very good overpass player, so I'm going to be very curious to see how he's going to perform, especially on T-side. Remember that going way back when Mortal Kombat were kind of known for their very aggressive T-side takes.
Right.
Whether that's going to transition through with obviously Tensky, Cadian, and Glace is yet to be seen, but they do have a lot of potential on this map, although, as you highlighted, it's not necessarily a great one for them, statistically speaking, at least.
Right, I think the big thing I've been noticing, though, is that Victor's getting more comfortable on this Rogue team. When he first joined the team, his stats were actually kind of in the toilets. Like, they weren't really that great. He wasn't really looking as strong as he had been on some of the Bulgarian teams. But at that Global Challenge event that Rogue won, one of the keys to that was the fact that Victor really started finding his form, which is great because someone like Bubble has always been playing pretty consistent. And you have Tensky showing up and being big. And they're going to be huge on this map for Rogue. Like, Tensky and Victor are kind of like this pairing that really like to, you know, gain map control and be some of the entry-type players for this team. And so those two are key. It's kind of funny because they were mentioning it on the desk how, like, this isn't what they're used to seeing from Tensky. He was more of a support player, right? He was backing up guys like Kierby and Config back when they were on Dignitas very early in 2016. And so now on this team, he's relied upon to be more of like one of the star riflers of the team. And maybe that role adjustment, maybe we're going to see a version of Tensky we didn't get to see in the past because he was busy kind of supporting other big names in the Danish scene. So it'll be really cool to kind of follow that storyline.
Yeah, exactly, because when you're supporting the likes of Kierby, the chances are that you are going to just succumb to your fate. Like, okay, this guy is a crazy up-and-coming rising talent. As we've seen him progress through, he has kind of hit the highs that a lot of people are expecting. So now that he is more open and free to kind of lay down the law, as it were, with the rifles, this could just free him up mentally as well. He doesn't have to worry about supporting. He doesn't have to worry about holding someone else's hand and effectively leading them to the kills. He can just take over and be his own man in that sense. So, again, there's a lot of question marks coming into this game, and for me, that's what makes this a particularly interesting one. Vega Squadron, we don't really know a great deal about them. Even after the major qualifier, there's a lot of question marks there. Rogue, can they show up? Can they knock down Vega Squadron? The winner of this game will face off against Flipside, so there's no easy road towards the finals. So there's plenty of CS to be played yet tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, when you look at Vega Squadron, the only guy who really kind of knocked your socks off was this Mir guy. I mean, he's a very young player. He certainly looked really hot throughout all the games that Vega Squadron played. But when you look at the other 4 players on the team, they all kind of struggled outside of the big NIP victory. Like, in the other maps, they were kind of like maybe just average or maybe slightly above average, but had some off games. So for me, I just don't know how much consistent firepower that this Vega Squadron team really has. Like, obviously, Mir is a guy to keep an eye on, but who else can, like, step up next to him is going to be a big question. Whereas when I look at Rogue, like, they were on fire at that Global Challenge event. They looked like a whole new team, which, granted, they did make a roster change pretty early on, right? They originally had HS and Maniac. That didn't really work out. They, like, got bombed out at that Northern and Toronto event, losing the Complexity offline, which was definitely... I always wanted to ask Katie what's worse, like losing to Giuliano or losing the Complexity offline. Like, which one of those two really gets to him more? Because that was a really unexpected result then, right? But the point is now they've, like, been putting together better results with this new lineup. And for them, they need to take care of business and make it on to the winners. I mean, that's what people are expecting of them now after them winning a title just, you know, a couple of weeks ago.
Well, it's about time, ladies and gents, to find out a few answers to the questions that we have posed to both teams. There's plenty of utility on the side of Rogue, actually. It's quite eye-catching to start things off. Couple of smokes, in fact, 3 in total with a Molotov. An aggressive play sees Chopper go down first to the hands of Bobble. Tensky did chime in with the assist. So that is going to make B a little bit more vulnerable. But as you can see, it's a 3-player stack here on this side. So Vega have got this covered.
Yeah, they were really banking on being able to do a strong push on long B. You could see they had 4 players committed to that B bomb site. Now they're going to have JR, who's actually pushing out long A. He's trying to get a little bit more information to see if he can kind of hold those players at B, which would be important because that is where the execute is coming from. And we do see Kashander. He's able to get a kill, gets into a 4-on-4.
We'll just back away. Does jump pump there. I think he saw a couple of players' heads. So the information is still coming back and forth. Of course, the beauty of Overpass, or one of them at least, is a very fast rotation through connector. They haven't heard the squeaky door open, so Vega is still going to have a fairly solid idea that it's going to be a B play that's imminent. And Mia has been flashed off. He tries to tap his way to victory through Monster, unable to land anything just yet. His teammates alongside him are falling down. It's looking oh so rough for Vega. Kashander has got himself 1 kill, turns around, nearly gets the second, but it's all too little, too late. Rogue, they got the first frag, and they finalized it. They will start off at 1-0.
you know, it's kind of, you know, the calm before the storm there for a while, just kind of waiting out in short B, just maintaining control. Didn't really have any presence A, so they had to commit to B. And they're able to just trade much more efficiently than Vega Squadron was. So well done for them. That's going to get them up 1-0 on the board. We obviously are going to see some upgraded pistols and small armor come out of Vega Squadron on most of their players, except for JR, obviously saving for that op in the opening round. As we are going to see Rogue open up fairly default. They're going to put a little bit more emphasis, though, on short B with Katie and kind of assisting Bubble over here to just get control of short rather quickly. Just gives them a little bit more staging area to work with, and we're going to see some aggression.
Yeah, I think this is going to cost the CTs a whole bunch of lives, though. 2-1 runs out of bullet, switches to the Glock. Not quite good enough, but it's still 3-on-1. And although one of those AK-47s has fallen from the hands of Bubble, it can easily be picked back up again, as indeed it will be just now. And Rogue trying to romp their way towards the B side. Unbeknownst to them, JR is lurking in the shadows of Bathroom. He's not going to pose much of an issue for them as they suddenly find out that B is ripe for the taking, and this is going to be the 2-0, barring some miracle play. Yeah, now it's up to JR to see if maybe he can't find a gun somewhere. I'm not sure if there's anything still left there at link that he's going to be able to pick up or at short B, so maybe he can try to carry over something to the next round, maybe just make them have a little bit more of a beefy setup on the CT side, as that third round's obviously like a full save. So if you can at least carry one thing over, maybe that gives you something to make a play with, but he's not going to find anything. Those guns are being covered now in short B. Yeah, intelligent play by Rogue. Planting, instantly going to make sure the guns get taken out of this round and away from the CTs. One gun can be so deadly in the right hands, but instead Vega are going to be whimpering out of this round, and Rogue will have a solid start. And they're not going to get any more kills out of this. No AKs dropped. So easily replenish weapons, and of course this will be a full-on eco on top of it for the CTs.
Right, so this should be like a breeze to the 3-0 start. And I'm curious to see how the rest of this game is going to play out, because so far all the games we've seen today have been very one-sided first halves, like very, even that last game was just one-sided in general across the entire thing. So we'll see if we'll see a little bit more of a competitive game this time around, as it's just USPs, one flashbang for Vega Squadron. As you can see, they're definitely pressing all 5 players up into the party area, which why not? Just try to gamble, try to do something to catch your opponent off guard, give yourself a chance to get a couple of kills.
I mean, really, that is the only hope out of this round. Tensky's having none of it, picks the head off of JR. They still have that aforementioned flashbang, though, so maybe they can do some wonders with it. As you said, any kills, though, are a nice bonus towards the buy that we will see in the next round for Vega. And it doesn't seem like Rogue are going to give them an inch here. So the aggression comes in through Fountain. Tensky's going to be the man on point to deliver the second fatal blow. Victor's going to help him out, leaving Hutchie and Kishenda remaining. Hutchie's about to die as well. All too easy for Rogue.
Yeah, again, there was never really going to be too much talk about in this round, was there? Just a full USP save from Vegas, so the 3-0 is going to, you know, be right on the horizon here for Rogue. Good for them, though, just to not be able to have to rebuy anything, right? Just being able to maintain those AKs is big for them. That's all they're really trying to do, is just set themselves up to have a good economy going forward, and so far they've done the task.
Yeah, no kills, so Rogue's economy is going to be starting off very nicely indeed. Vega will have their first full buy into this round. Be curious to see if they are going to be able to afford an op. I'm assuming not. And if it were, it would be a glass cannon.
Yeah, I know JR only bought a P250 in that second round, so he definitely didn't invest really anything in the second and third, so he should be able to get an op in play, and you do see it up there. He isn't going to have any utility. Utility can be light across the whole team, but he actually does have the chest armor there, so that's going to be good news for him. We are, again, going to see Rogue open pretty default, but again, they keep putting this lean on B. They're kind of using Kaden as an extra player to get a little bit extra control over at B, and we actually see him pushing out really far in the monster. He's actually almost all the way into the B bomb site already. He's going to get picked off by Chopper, though, so that's already just one man down for free with no ability to trade.
Kishenda, close range, really needed to land that frag. It wouldn't necessarily have put the round to bed, but it would have been a fantastic map control with having Connector under their grasp. Instead, it's a 4-on-4. And this is where I worry a little bit for Vega. They're seriously struggling in terms of nades, and JR has the armor but no head armor, so it seems like that could have been money spent towards nades instead. Either way, Chopper's gone down, they line up, but Victor lands yet another headshot, and this opens up A nicely. They're going to be playing this one safe, making sure those CTs are be catching them from the sides. Looking up to Dumpster, Mia's going to get one frag before being traded out, leaving Hutchie in a 1-on-2. Bomb is getting planted, and there's Glaze to land the headshot. Rogue with as brisk as you like 4-0 scoreline. We haven't really seen much from Vega so far.
Yeah, they had a good opportunity there because they caught Cadian so early, but it was Glace being able to that killing connector to be able to kind of even the odds, get it to a 4-4. Just great work from Victor. It's a solo effort for the most part into that A bomb site to get 2 kills and just clear it out. So just better trading from Rogue, and that means Vega Squadron is going to be on just upgraded pistols once more. So, you know, Rogue really skating off to a big lead early on. Again, they're going to use Cadian as some extra personnel over on the B side of the map. We're going to see Kashander getting aggressive, but that Molotov is going to make him have to just kind of stall out for a bit as Rogue get control of short B.
Molly interconnector stops any pistol shenanigans up close and personal. Cadian will put down Mir, who had a couple of shots chance to maybe get himself a kill before dropping. And the rest is going to be pretty much a carbon copy of what we've seen thus far, and that's with Vega getting knocked down as they stand. Just Kashander and JR left alive this time. CZ and P250, I mean, it's enough to maybe cause a bit of uncomfort to Rogue, but surely this is 5-0.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no way around that conclusion, to be quite honest. So Rogue definitely going to be happy with how things are going. Again, this hasn't necessarily been the best map for them historically. So getting off to a good start on the T side against a very unknown value, and this Vega Squadron team is certainly exactly where they want to be.
And we were talking about this before as well, that Overpass, statistically, not one of Rogue's best maps, and yet they've started off at a 5-0, pardon me, stomping. So, and this is on the T side as well. This is very reminiscent to what we saw previously with the flip side match, with Big coming back somewhat in the second half, but the damage had already been inflicted. So Vega have got to start winning rounds very soon, otherwise this could start getting out of control.
Yeah, I mean, Cadian's even still holding on to an up, by the way. Like, he's still just racking up dollars at this point. Not sure if I guess he doesn't even feel the need to have to go to an op yet just because of the way things have been going, but we do see a change here from Rogue. They're not opening default anymore. You can see they're definitely ready to just do a quick execute on the B-bomb site, and credit to Rogue, with Cadian's leadership, he does like to change the pace up quite a lot, so this might catch Vega off guard that they do already have a third player rotated here into the site.
And even though it has the UMP, there are 3 players with that head armor on the side of Vega, so that UMP, if it lands their headshots, is going to be just as deadly. Damage being inflicted onto the terrorists. They still haven't managed to force their way in. The bomb gets dropped out in a horrific position. So Vega should be favorites to clutch this round out. There goes Bubble with the spray, though. Hutchie falls down. They still have the bomb controlled, though, the CTs. And that is going to be the biggest issue for Rogue. And considering that Bubble and Tensky are both a bullet away from death, this round is far from over.
And they also have Kashander pushing to Link. He pushed A very early. That allowed them to get a very fast rotate to B. And now Kashander is kind of the cutoff point. And as you noted, the bomb down in such a horrible position. Rogue, they do have a little bit of utility left on Glace. A couple of pop flashes they might be able to use to get back into this B bomb site. But they're going to just have to rely on being able to outfrag Vega because now they can't outposition them.
There'll be some words exchanged to Victor if this round goes away from them. There's 2 players' attention. His turn towards throwing a smoke over. You can see it falling by the corpse. I think that was aimed towards heaven. And Almir can turn his attention from short onto the site. And that's all off the bomb dropped, honestly, because the terrorists got the frags as soon as the bomb was dropped, but therein lays the issue with the positioning.
Yeah, again, that player from Vega Squadron, I believe that was Kashander, pushed A so early in the round. We didn't really see it because we were focused on some of the stuff that's happening at B, but he got the fountain like really early in the round. That actually allowed them to get a 4th player into the B bomb site like really early on from Vega. And even though Rogue got a couple of nice entries, you know, the bomb going down in a bad spot, and then Mir catches 2 players with their pants down, basically like setting up grenades. So it couldn't have been a worse timing for Rogue for that peak to come through. That finally puts a round on the board for Vega Squadron, but now they need to follow it up because that money reset's looming over their heads. And that's where Rogue can just really start dominating the half if they allow their economy to reset here and now, as we do see Rogue going default, but they're actually leaving Cadian alone with the op B. They've pulled Bubble, the normal lurk there, off to go assist on getting A control while Cadian's just looking for aggression.
And he touched on it before as well. The nightmare from a CT's perspective is finally winning a round, resetting a round loss bonus, then instantly losing. So this is just as important as the previous round. They've got to get the momentum through. We know that Rogue have got a lot of clear-cut rounds. They're going to be set for a while. So it's Vega's turn to start to turn it on here. Chopper's already down to sub 50 health. I think originally he had the AWP, but he traded out to JR.
This has been such a crazy round from Rogue. You see, Cadian was originally opping Monster. Now he's already pushed up way far up long, and they've actually rotated the bomb to Monster, and they had 2 players connectors. So it looks like Cadian's looking for a pick into A, so maybe just like cause a rotation or hold someone in place, and they want to just overload 4 players into this B bomb site. So it's really on Cadian to try to pull attention or create pressure to try to alleviate any rotates that could happen from Vega, but it's not going to be to any avail as Mir just absolutely shuts down that push.
I'm pretty sure he was fully flashed as well. His partner in crime has gone down. Of course, the Board will allow Rogue to know there's another player lurking in the shadows of Monster, and Tensky is not going to get it done. Mia with another 3K, proving to be just as important as you highlighted before. Second round of the ball for Vega, very important, but Rogue will be coming back strong.
Yeah, good to follow up that round again. Avoiding that economy reset's going to be huge for Vega Squadron. That gives them a launching pad to perhaps start working towards a tie game here soon, as we are going to start seeing money run out on Rogue here pretty soon. The fact that they lose this round, they might be on a save in the next. So that's where Vega can really get back in this game in a big way. Rogue obviously wants to avoid that, as they are, again, just opening up with really quick control of short B, as well as making sure that no CT presence is going to be linked. So again, they're looking towards a B split, but Mir, he's looking to challenge.
So aggressive, and he gets the first kill. It's not going to be a second, as Connector will trump over his position. Chopper now feeling very lonely, all by his lonesome. First kill goes his way. Once again, the bomb is dropped in a horrible spot, and a second to boot. Chopper single-handedly holding off the B aggression. There's a third one. Unreal play, and now Gleiss must be scratching his head, wondering what the hell just happened. They got the opening trade going in their favor, but then Chopper showed up.
Indeed, and now, as you said, Gleiss all alone, not going to be able to do much, just walks into the op of Chopper, too easy. And I feel like these last couple of rounds, you've really seen Rogue try to force the issue around these smokes. Like, they seem to just be trying to push them despite having a lot of time and utility left on the clock. And it just seems like maybe they've gotten a little bit overconfident. Like, they want to change the pace, surely. You want to be able to, like, go to these faster pace plays, catch your opponent off guard, but it almost feels forced at this point, particularly this round. Like, it didn't seem like they really had any hope of coming through that that thing by sandbags and actually coming up with a victory. So they're just kind of playing into Vega's hands at this point. So hopefully we'll see them kind of make some better reads going forward.
The power of Rogue's once prominent economy is still on show. The fact they can get another force buy out. And it's a pretty decent buy, that. Honestly, UMP's fine with plenty of nades to go alongside it. The first pick is going to go the way of Rogue. Victor comes in with a second one. Beat is vulnerable, but again, it's that man, Chopper. He has the M4A4 in his hands. Molly's going to force him out into more deep position. JR's going to take over. Bomb drop once again. Chopper looks for the spray. Landed onto the first player. Not going to get the second. 2 on 2. But Tensky could have the drop if the CTs push through Connector. That smoke may very well have just saved the life of Kashanda. Meanwhile, the bomb still hasn't been planted. Gleiss playing a dangerous game of cat and mouse with JR.
Yeah, JR is definitely pinned over here at Graffiti, so Gleiss just trying to angle out, see if he can find this other player. He knows exactly where JR is, but he's trying to help locate Kashander for Tensky so they can try to maybe push some type of 2v1 duel somewhere. JR actually begins to, or JR, excuse me, begins to back off with the hop. Sorry about that. I'm sure that guy won't appreciate the shout out though.
Tensky will land the frag onto Kashanda, and that leaves JR and his AWP with 30 seconds to try and hold off this plant. There's the first shot. Now his position has been compromised, but he spots the head of Tensky peeking up from the box. This is where the AK should reign supreme, but the P250 all too good. And what a clutch that could end up being for Vega. They did lose 4 weapons, but remember, that was another forced buy by Rogue.
And they didn't get a plan either. They're starting to approach max loss bonus at the same time, so they're kind of in this gray area where they could still try to piece something together, but if they want to get an op in Cadian's hands, have good utility going forward, this is the type of buy you want to see where, yeah, we're going to invest in some Tech 9s and armor to light utility, but we're still going to have plenty of money in the next round to get a full buy. So you give yourself a chance to win, but not at the cost of, like, putting yourself in the dumps.
Kashanda is in a very dangerous position, but it's not going to get checked, and with help of JR, 3 kills in as many seconds. We'll see this round get laid to rest. Cadian, all that remains, Tech 9 and armor to play with. Not a single point of health has been lost on the CT side. Good luck to you, sir.
Yeah, and it's again, Vega Squadron's been playing aggressive pretty much every round on the A side of the map. We just haven't really seen it come into play because Rogue has been so focused on this B bomb site. Like, Kashander keeps cheating up close to that fountain repeatedly. I'm starting to wonder if maybe with this next round that Kane's going to have an op in his hands, is he going to be looking out for that? I mean, they used this op the one time he had it to try to get a pick at Monster, but maybe they'll try to see if he can assess some control over here towards the mid and bathrooms with it in the next round. As we really haven't seen Rogue play a true default yet. Even in rounds they've been a little bit slower, they've really still leaned towards that B side of the map. And this is a team that usually has a pretty good mixture of how they want to play, so I'm curious to see if they'll rely more on some of their default to see if they can't get a little bit more information and just not force plays as much. Again, I feel like some of the things we've seen in the last few rounds has felt very just not natural.
And you saw there as well when the scoreboard was brought up that no one's necessarily pulling away from the pack. It's been fairly consistent across both teams. You had Mir, who's gone on a couple of spree-killing rounds, picking up 3 frags here and there, but by and large, it's been pretty even, and that's reflected in the 5-5 scoreline. Rogue starting off very aggressively with a 5-0, brought back with 5 rounds on the board for Vega, and they have drawn first blood in round 11, so the curse continues for Rogue. Can they get any more rounds on their T side?
That's certainly painful to happen. Cadian trying to be dynamic with his op and move around, but he gets caught by JR, who himself repositions. Just being a nuisance all across the map, keeping Rogue guessing where that scope is fixated, as he has his team now in a 5 versus 3. It's going to be so hard to play their way back into a good smoke. Going to separate Kashander from the crossfire. He's left out alone, so that was really well played by Rogue to isolate Kashander, get a kill, get it into a 3v4, make it a bit more manageable. They still have plenty of time to work with on the clock. They have a couple of Molotovs, a couple of flashes used for an execute. The problem is just playing the numbers game now, though, because rotates are obviously very quick on this map.
And so far, Vega have been very much B-centric in their defense, whereas now we're seeing more players start to lurk around A. This could catch Rogue off guard, but no, they're going to be heading to B.
There is only one player there as well for the time being, but there's like 2 or 3 players, actually. All players at A are very quick to rotate to B, to be honest. So as soon as Hutchie sees any type of action, he'll be able to get basically all of his teammates there in time to prevent the bomb from going down. Though they don't have much utility. Like, they only have that 1 nade on Mir. But they can still just like play a numbers game and probably out-trade Rogue.
Bad news for Rogue is they have no smokes, and they haven't for quite some time. It's just a Molotov now. So they're going to be charging onto the site. Hutchie, when this is chopper die in front of his eyes, and that Molotov is enough to keep him at bay for a few more moments. But JR is picking up the slack with his first frag. Here comes the spray. JR and Mia both get bested courtesy of Victor's AK spray. And Hutchie, oh, actually, they run out of time!
Oh.
After all that work from Victor with his 3K, they still run out of time by a second, and Hutchie played the time perfectly. He just waited in graffiti.
I'm kind of wondering if maybe they tried to plant in a spot you can't plan at, like the first time he tried to click the bomb, because he was in the site, I feel like, for a second there. Yeah, he comes up, he grabs, no, he doesn't have the bomb in time. He actually grabs it at, wow, he just started it like maybe a quarter of a second too late or something like that. Wow, that was really close. I mean, that was a brilliant play by Victor to try to salvage it, but just unfortunately not enough time. So Vega now actually have a lead for the first time in this game. 6 rounds in a row.
Has been the pendulum of Counter-Strike, tipping in both teams' favors. This time, though, once again, Vega are going to just stomp through for a 7th round. It's all on Cadian.
They've been playing Link so well on the Vega Squadron side. I feel like they've won every battle inside that area of the map. But like the only time they ever lost was when like Glace got a kill early on. But every other time we've seen a battle go down in that stairwell, it's been Vega Squadron coming out on the better end of the deal. And that's a big place to control, right? It just gives you even quicker rotates between the sites with your personnel. And it just kind of cuts off options for Rogue. Like it separates the team, you know, it splits them in half basically between the 2 sites. And it's like been so key for Vega to be kind of just dominating that portion of the map.
Bad news for Cadian. You got onto the site, you've got no bomb. It's all the way back towards the T side of the connector, and the CTs did notice that earlier as well. I think it may have been Kashander after getting his 3K that spotted the bomb there. Could very well get a kill onto JR. It's not going to happen. Orped point blank range. And Vega continue their merciless stomping, and that's 7 rounds now in a row. That has got to be quite taxing mentally for Cadian and the rest of Rogue. After such a great start.
Yeah, after such a great start, it is noteworthy though that even if Rogue only gets like 1 or 2 more rounds before this happens over with, they'll still, you know, feel pretty good about the score, right? Because obviously Overpass, definitely a CT-sided map. The fact that they're down 7-5 isn't too shabby, but it's the nature in which it's happened, I think, is the more worrying thing. The fact that you've had 7 unanswered rounds, basically, after, like you said, having such a strong start. So at this point, it's just about kind of shaking it off, getting your mental composure back, just take a chill pill, don't get, you know, tilted or anything like that. I think that's the biggest thing for them. It's just kind of calming down and not letting this get to them, that this comeback has taken place.
Especially as some of the rounds they actually lost. We had the Victor round with 3K missing out on the bomb plant by 1 second. It was a 2v1. Hutchie, I think they even knew he was graffiti because they mullied him off just beforehand. That's got to hurt.
Definitely.
So as you say, it's not a case of what could have been with the fact you're 5-0 up. You're thinking, okay, guys, we could even hit 10 rounds here on this half and be 1 step over the finish line. You've got to more look at what is. What is the present? The present is, well, we're 7-5 behind. Doesn't matter how we got here. How do we get out of this predicament? How do we get to the halftime at 8-7 the lead? How do we start to move towards the finish line?
I mean, I have to say that, like, Cadian's an opper who's very mobile and he's very assertive. Like, he likes to dance all around the map. He's one of those, like, selfless in-game leaders who will go in first, kind of like an MSL type character who doesn't mind like going in first and setting his team up. So maybe that's going to be part of it, is just trying to get Cadian and try to set up guys like Victor and Tinsky to have an easier time trading into a site. It's either that or he needs to start winning some of these op duels. I mean, I feel like the only time he's really gone for an active duel was when he lost that fight to JR inside the stairwell. Other than that, he really hasn't been able to put it to much use to actually attack something. And so that's going to be kind of key to see if he can get that involved a little bit more, but also just trying to see if he can't help open up Tinsky and Victor a bit more, because some of the big rounds they won was actually Victor like storming through and opening up bomb sites, so trying to better set him up is going to be key. They definitely slowed things down, like they're not forcing plays anymore, so that's good, because that certainly wasn't working, but now it's just going to be about trying to coordinate a bit better. But as you see, they have to take another kind of half buy this round, so we're going to have to kind of wait to kind of see the effects of that timeout probably in the next round.
Max round loss, of course, will be coming through to Rogue, so they can afford an AWP in the next round if Cadian so chooses. Will be interesting to see what develops on that side. But for the time being, Rogue pretty much just edging out, feeling what the CT is going to be bringing up against them, probing more than anything else. Shanna's going to use this opportunity with the smoke to actually hide up on the jump there. Actually decides better of it. Going to be pulling back instead. Lots of information, of course, has been gathered just by sitting and connecting, you know, quite a bit about the T's aggression, or lack thereof.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is he doesn't have any idea what's going on at long A, but now that he's been able to spot 2 players at connector, this does give a little bit of information for Vega to work with, but they've lost a player. They haven't been able to trade, so at this point, they don't know how Rogue can shift, so that they can't really rotate their players at this point. Even
though Kashanda is going to be momentarily silenced out of round 13. He did do significant damage to both Glace and Bubble. So yeah, I'm going to switch across the AK, which was in Bubble's hands, to Victor. Why the hell not? He has been the talisman thus far on Overpass. Chopper's been quite the beast on the B pillar, and he will remain there for the time being. 35 seconds left. Has crept up on Rogue. They're going to have to start to get a move on. This could be into Chopper's warm embrace. There's the first one. Going to be turning his attention to his left-hand side. Does so much damage. 3 players now very close to death. But the bomb will get planted, and this is where the AWP could really struggle for Vega. Going to have to push out into the open, and this is where the crossfires for Rogue should reign supreme. Mia going to be taking point for his team, of course, with the M4. His partner in crime is dead. Looks for the double spray down, not going to happen. And Rogue and a half buy have got the job done.
Yeah, it's just big catching Kashander inside the connector there. And that meant that those 2 A players, they didn't really know what was going on. Because if you see a couple of players link, you still don't know what's going on at long A. So they can never really like freely move over to B. And that just allowed Rogue to play a great numbers game on that B bomb. So you could see they're just able to trade out Chopper, kind of the lone man inside the site. And that's going to get them a 6th round on the board after a 7-round drought. They finally put one back up there. And they get it a round earlier than maybe we expected, right? We're thinking the next full buys where they're really going to be able to work their magic. But now they get to do it against a weaker bot Vega Squadron. You can see they're really scrambling to put guns together. Just a deagle on Kashander. Chopper only with an ump to work with. And that's really going to set Rogue up well. They're just going to be able to go back to their default and just kind of slow things down. Maybe let Cadian try to find some picks, or just, you know, make sure you get control of connector again. They just can, you know, just play more comfortably at this point.
We didn't quite catch it on screen, but JR got completely annihilated over on the B side. He's down to 28. I think he may have been getting sprayed up through the short wall from the barrel. And now Hutchie is going to follow suit, but he goes one step further towards his grave. The assailant is Bubble on both occasions as Mia joins his teammate in the afterlife. And, well, Vega, after 7 rounds in a row, it looks like Rogue could be finishing this half strong. The magic of the pause once again is felt. JR and Chopper, 2v5.
Yeah, this Rogue falling back into the more passive holding pattern and just catching all the aggression from Vega Squadron just time. As you noted, Bubble, you know, the one dishing most of the damage. And I mean, now Vega have really nothing left to work with. There's 2 players to split between the sites. Still plenty of time for Rogue to work with. This is like almost an impossible task. It's going to take some flashy fragging from someone from Vega to try to steal this one back in their direction.
Chopper with UMP is playing it at a solid range for the submachine gun. It can rip through plays. It's one of the reasons why many would agree it's the best SMG currently, but it doesn't really matter because there's strength in numbers and JL was already weakened. So Rogue are going to pick up yet another round. 7-7. And whatever happens from this point, of course, they're eyeing up the 8-7. But even if they go 8-7 behind, this is a solid T-half.
Absolutely. I mean, I think Rogue has to be pretty happy with how things have gone thus far. I mean, Vega Squadron, they just lived and died by their aggression. It's got them some rounds, but now it's lost them a couple. And as you can see, even less to work with in this round. Despite the 7-1 winning streak, there was a lot of close rounds. They were rebuying a lot, so never really to save up money for situations like this one. So it's going to help out Rogue a ton. But Kashander, again, getting aggressive as he's done almost every round this time. It's going to be fruitful for him. He does get the opening pick on the Cadian. I mean, that's also a gun they can try to control at some point, get to a player's hands. As now Rogue, their options are quite limited. They have no presence on the A side of the map.
And with 2 players on long, it wouldn't surprise me if they see the aggression through on B if one of those players does go to pick up Cadian's gun. Kashander was thinking about it, but wanted to play safe rather than sorry. Definitely understand that call. Keep the player advantage alive. Ooh, that Molotov, that could cost them quite dearly, actually. Chopper, close range with the 5-7, can eviscerate, but Glace is going to extinguish Chopper on this occasion. Hutchie with the UMP would much rather have the A4 in his hands. Not able to get it done. And this could be a case of Vega finishing the half at a bit of a lost streak. Victor, Bubble, and Glace going to be trying to put that bomb down onto the B side. They're not entirely sure as to whether JR is joining Kashander or not, but there's another 1 dig. He's second in this round, and he's hungry for more. And every single bullet that goes the way of the B side is keeping Glaze busy. Doesn't matter, though, because JR is still going to have his head ripped off his shoulders. And now they know exactly where the final CT is, and they're going to set up their crossfire accordingly. This is hard to see how Kashander gets this round, other than if Rogue go peeking and lose their heads to the Eagle shots. He's going to go on the charge, and there is Bubble. Rogue finish it. After going 7 rounds on the bounce behind, they finish it strong after the pause, 8-7.
Yeah, again, you know, taking that time out, maybe just to calm down a little bit, just, you know, not getting their own heads about the combat that Vega Squadron were piecing together. Again, also just really noteworthy how much they limited the economy of Vega Squadron, even in the rounds they were losing. They just took that 1 round to kind of break down the cash flow of Vega Squadron, get them onto some force buys or just upgraded pistols, and that made it much easier to secure those last 2 rounds to make sure they actually won the half 8-7. So, you know, props to Rogue for being able to kind of keep their grit despite the fact that this Vega Squadron team was really nipping at their heels there for a while in the middle of the half. Also props to Vega, I mean, to be able to come back from such a deficit to now make this still a quite competitive game. I mean, depending on how the pistol round goes, we could still see like Vega Squadron in the driver's seat of this map.
Absolutely, it's all to play for.
Apparently, Cadian hasn't taken a shower in like 2 weeks because he still has that penguin tattoo on his head.
Maybe he just made it permanent.
That would be rather creepy. The other hand is a gun tattoo. I can only imagine the looks he must get when he's going through like airport security. He's got a gun tattoo on his hand.
A lot of random stop searches, of course.
Absolutely. I went through one of those, actually.
Did you hear the glove pop?
Indeed.
Brilliant. All right, here we go anyway. Second half, Rogue, Vega. Rogue in the lead, of course. And Bubble trying to take the early duel. Not quite landing. I think Hutchie realized, okay, maybe this isn't a great idea. Kashander, though, does come up onto balloons and lands the quickfire headshot. Cadian's down as well. Leaves Glace with quite a lot of work on his shoulders. He's got 1 health left. But he's alive, and he's kicking, and he's picked up a kill. He desperately needs Victor and Tensky to step up to the plate and deliver here, though. Bomb still in connector. And the terrorists feeling their way out through bathroom. Victor's going to be playing on the truck. Does have Tensky coming up to help him out. This does leave the very much wounded Glace all by himself on B. But the beauty of the USP is, of course, if you land the headshot, it doesn't matter if you've got 100 or 1, you're still going to have your hand raised victorious.
Yeah, I mean, you can see Rogue are just looking to try to get a quick peek and make sure that no one's like committed to a forward position. They want to be able to rotate as soon as they get some information. So Victor is trying to hold by Optimus, just trying to keep his eye on Washer. Meanwhile, JR is going to start prodding into this B bomb site. If you can create some pressure, this makes it even more difficult for Rogue, but that's going to be a great shot from Glace that gets it back into a 3-on-3 that gives him a little bit more to work with. And Victor holding a cheeky little crack here. Not going to find the frag, but he's buying time.
Oh, he's missed a whole bunch of bullets. Has to feel bad. Another day they could have hit. Instead, it's Glace on a 1-on-3. 1 HP dream is not real. Vega start the second half strong. So that's 1 pistol round apiece now. Of course, it was Rogue who started with 5 rounds and answered when they were on the T side.
So again, just waiting to see who's really going to grab this second half by the reins. Like, who's going to be able to get that early start. So far, it looks like Vega Squadron is being able to play the numbers game very well throughout that entire round. Particularly Mir being able to just open up that A-bomb site. Cadian, though, going to go for the early scout buy. Sees a lot of players at Monster. Going to back up as quickly as he can, but this execute's coming in really fast.
Yeah, that is a get the hell away from here moment. If ever you've seen one, just try and call, survive for a little while longer. Hutchie did eat a bullet, but it's not enough to put him down. And these are the kind of scenarios where Rogue honestly may just save. This gives them another crack at a potential 5-7 sweep in the next round. They've got 3 players with Kevlar and a flash. So that's a fair chunk of equipment value you don't really want to throw away. Again, you can see the score there. It's pretty even, honestly. Mir's top fragging, but just by 1. 3 players trail just behind him on 14, including Glace Victor. So, incredibly close match. And it would appear that they're going to save the bulk of these 5-7s. They may very well save all 3 of them.
As you noted, it's good to carry this over. Just see if you can't pose a similar threat in the next round, whether you want to do some type of stack or push. It just gives you a little bit more to work with in a round where you normally wouldn't have really anything at all because you're saving for the opening buy round. As it is going to be Vega up 9-8. It'll be interesting to see how Vega Squadron approaches Overpass, because I haven't really seen them play T-side Overpass yet. But one thing to note from some of the other maps I've watched them play is they don't seem like that traditional CIS team where they play like really slow and default, like a Flipside, like a Na'Vi when Zeus was still in-game leading over there. I've seen them actually have a pretty good mixture of aggression, something that some of the other like CIS times really seem to lack at times. So it's going to be kind of neat to kind of see something a little bit different from that region with this group of players. We'll see them, really picking up the pace in this round. You can see just sweeping to that B-bomb site very rapidly, already with the kill in their favor.
Yeah, of course, the 5-7s does give you a chance to put a couple of dents in the T aggression. Problem is, AK's Mac-10 should still reign supreme, and that's what we've by and large seen so far. Tensky has put a player down in the rounds, but that's likely all she wrote for Rogue, especially as JR playing aggressively. He's going to be pushing in. Notices a player to his left-hand side, going to be going in for more. Of course, this is all money in the bank towards his AWP fund. With the Mac-10, Kashanda will take it away from him. AK traded out. Vega will pick up a 10th. And yeah, I feel like Vega reminded me a little bit more of Gambit, maybe, more so than the likes of Flipside or Na'Vi on their T-sides.
Yeah, certainly, again, they seem to have a little bit better of a mixture than like a team like Flipside that's just like lives and breathes by just playing like super slow and default as Na'Vi used to do. And so it's nice to see that. So you see Flipside trying to incorporate their game a bit more with electronic. I feel like they are trying to like change things up a bit. They're still kind of working on that. But for Vega, when I was watching them play at the E-League Major Qualifier, they definitely had a really good mixture of how they approach the game. Again, though, they're very reliant on Mir being a playmaker with the rifle. And I will say, to a degree, JR's op has also been pretty sharp from what I've seen. But it's really about the other players on the team. Like, how consistent is their firepower is one of the big questions we had to ask. And so we're going to get to kind of see that in action now here a bit on this T side. As you can see, they're leaning very heavy towards the B-bomb side. Just kind of a 1-4 split. They already have control of water. They already have control of Link with Kashander.
You can see as a result of Victor playing up in a position that we saw Kashanda in when the roles were reversed just outside of balloons, it allowed Cadian to peek down in connector and know that his back was safe. He wouldn't get picked on the cross.
You can look at the position that Victor has here. This allows them to actually have 3 committed to B and even cheat a 4th player over. So this could get really messy for Vega Squadrons. They're going to be going up against maybe a bigger defense than they were expecting. As they're, still with plenty of time left, so they can always kind of leave this and actually try to control A late.
Distinct lack of nades, though, in the side of Rogue. Just flashes and a decoy. So no way of fending off an area. It's going to have to come down to frags. Vega, on the other hand, have 2 mollies to play with and plenty of flashes and a smoke. Going to be mollying out, making sure that no one is close range through Monster. That flashbang annihilates Bubble. Couldn't see a single thing. The snowstorm descending in his eyes and the kills going back and forth. But it's heavily focusing on the side of Rogue. They have pummeled Vega in this round. JR's AWP, all that remains, 30 seconds to try and use it. And it's not going to happen. Cadian bests him. 3 frags in that round for Cadian. Very well played.
Very well played. And even Victor, a guy who got no kills in the round, was still such a crucial factor in its success for Rogue. Just being able to push up A that far and just realize that no one is there just really allowed Rogue to build a huge defense in that B bomb site. And it's something that Vega just really couldn't break through. So first gun round does go to Rogue. Vega, though, still able to put together a full AK buy here. And it looks like this time they are going to open up a bit more default. Just try to get a little bit more map presence make sure they can't, you know, give away such early information to Rogue.
Cadian sure does love abusing those spawns. Second consecutive time he's gone for an aggressive peek. Last time connector, this time up next to the fountain. Narrowly missed out actually on the shot, but there's the boost. Catches Kishander in the backside. Nice opening pick once again by Rogue. That's going to alleviate some of the pressure. Also, information was gathered, although there's a lot of time left, so as every second passes, that information is less and less valuable.
As we do see them still trying to get control of the washroom here on the Vega side of things. They still have a player in connector as well. A little bit of a bait and switch setup here between Victor and Cadian, who's trying to keep his eye on long A, but also trying to draw attention to allow Victor to maybe kind of just catch someone off guard, get the jump on someone here coming around middle.
Two formation for Vega. 2 bathroom, 2 long. They are playing off just the one smoke, however, and it has just been thrown out towards the truck. All hell about to break loose. Victor goes down. Bubble will trade out, though. But Vega Squadron are holding firm. Glace narrowly misses out on his opportunity. Will look to retreat back to the B side. Oh, he locks himself in connector. That would have been awkward if a player charged him down, but still, he will live to fight another day. 25 seconds left on the board. JR's going to connect the headshot onto Cadian. He goes walkies. That could cost his team massively. Watch out for the flank, though. Glace, who whiffed earlier, could very well be the man to pull this one off. His teammate, his partner in crime, is dead, and he's now forcing after the flashbang connects. And the issue for him, however, the flashbang has now left JR's vision. However, JR has been put down. It's all Hutchie. It's all Glace. Who's going to pick up this duel and secure the round for their team? Glace has time and he has a kit as well, so Vega have to be very careful about this one. Hutchie's just going to be peeking it. He's not respecting the potential fake, and he will be taking down Glace as he charges into bank. He faked it and then ran straight afterwards, so Hutchie knew he didn't have to peek.
Hutchie and JR played that so well. The biggest thing was catching that flank immediately. Like, there was 2 players from Rogue that actually tried to flank through connector, and both of those players got caught just trying to backstab, and so that kind of alleviated a lot of pressure from Vega Squadron. And then JR hits a nasty shot on the Cadian, who was playing CT with the op, and just not even letting Cadian get a shot off. So just really clean play there from JR and Hutchie in like a small numbers situation to just play it, you know, perfectly, basically. And really secured it for them. And now money is low on Rogue, and so Vega Squadron starting to really create big problems for Rogue, but Glace with that ump is able to get a couple of kills. Actually gets a team of mana advantage early in this round.
This really could be a 2-for-1 round. Either way, Vega's economy is not necessarily booming either, and Bubble goes in for a second, so both him and Glace. A double struck onto Vega. Kishander and a Galil with all to do. There's the first one, gonna spin around, very nearly landed on a second. And, you know, if he picked that up earlier, he could have had some highlight reel worthy stuff, but not to be today.
That has to be a tough pill to swallow if you're Rogue. I mean, you played that previous round so well to get it, and to get an advantage, you know, get Rogue onto a lower buy, and they just couldn't even break through the B-bomb site on this round, even going up against like lesser firepower to a degree. So now Rogue, they get it to 10-11, and now they've kind of, you know, it's in the other hand now. It's now Vega who have to work with a little bit less.
We did see, though, when the roles reversed after Rogue stopped the 7-round killing spree that Vega inflicted on them, it was a half buy. It was a buy similar to this that got them. It was Tech9s and Kevlar. So we know, even though it certainly is less firepower, it can certainly be efficient in the right hands and the right strats.
Yeah, Tech9s can be very difficult to deal with just like the running accuracy and the power that they have. It always definitely throws teams for a loop, especially if you can just like cram up and just attack something very swiftly, get the jump on someone. Very difficult to deal with. As you can see, Rogue just kind of backing down to the A-bomb site, kind of bunkering up, waiting for this execute to come in. Tensky, though, looking to see if maybe he can't catch someone running up the stairs. He does spot just a pixel of someone's head. Doesn't connect a shot, but no harm, no foul. Gets back into the B-bomb site, A-bomb site, excuse me, as he and Victor will just kind of set up, waiting for this push to come through.
Whereas originally that pixel didn't give him too much information. Now the smokes and a lot of footsteps are being heard on the short side of A. You better believe that Rogue know what's about to come at them. Chopper, though, just darts round the side. One digs Tensky. JR with a Tech9 goes ham. There's a team kill, but it really doesn't matter because Chopper's landed another one dig. Rogue have been swept aside in convincing fashion. Cadian, the only player actually of Rogue to get a kill that round. Kishander was a bit of a a spy for a few moments, but what a round that ended up being. Vega on 12 now.
And this half is starting to get really scrappy at this point. Like, no one's really connecting rounds together. Like, these low buys are actually coming through and getting victories for the respective teams. And so it's Rogue, though, who's kind of losing out in the cash game in the end. Like, this round's really rough. You know, just a couple of 5-7s, a scout on the Cadian, but we certainly have seen him put that scout to work. So we'll see if he can do so yet again, as we are definitely seeing a lot of aggression from Rogue here at the A side of the map. 2 players pushing into connector, 2 also holding by bathrooms, just leaving Cadian alone with that scout in the B-bomb site. Just keeping his eyes on Monster, seeing if anyone's going to give him a free frag, but no one going to be doing that. Vega just playing nice and disciplined.
I like that as well. They've almost called Cadian's strat. Less force, let's use those pistols to their utmost effect, and that's close range in connector. And Vega gave them nothing to work off here. Glace and Victor holding firm, the 2 5.7s in their hands. Meanwhile, they do have support from Bathroom and Short if things get a bit sketchy.
You see Kashander wanting to work the door to get to Short because he has 3 players waiting outside Monster, so a B-split's definitely what seems to be in the cards for Vega Squadron at this point. Still plenty of time on the clock. They don't need to feel rushed, as Mir kind of still drifting over there towards the party area. May even catch some players coming back up the stairs, trying to get to the A-bomb site.
Kashander has so much noise around him, almost sensory overload. He can hear one player darting up connector. Meanwhile, the squeaky door is being spammed. And now he's about to get aggressed on from 2 hungry CTs who want to try and pull this back in their favor. Glace the first to fall, and there's Victor right after him. It did start well for Rogue. As he got the opening pick, but here comes Bubble with 2 of his own. Kashander with a 4K. And certainly the hero play, 13-10. And remember, that was a force buy for the CTs, and now they are on seriously sketchy ground.
Yeah, Kashander did well just to even get out of a sticky situation. I mean, he was really kind of pinned in there, getting through the door, getting into water, and even coming up with 4 kills. That's like way more that can be asked for, considering what he was having to deal with, as Mir did get caught, you know, they were trying to pinch on the connector together, and Mir got caught, so that left Kashander stranded, but, you know, way for him to make a play. And as you noted, Rogue now have to do more with less. As Vega, they're starting to approach map point. They're just going to try to push in here on the Rogue side. They do get 1 kill on the chopper.
That flash was perfectly timed. Tensky did certainly feel the effects, though, and I don't think they got anything other than... Oh, UMP, okay, they just picked up the UMP, so it wasn't an assault rifle. Could have been a lot worse for Vega. I did notice 3 players charging, but there has been more than enough time for Rogue to relocate over onto the A site, which, as we have the benefit of seeing, is exactly what's happening. Will
they clear this corner? Cadian is going to be the big question. They haven't had to deal with this yet.
I think they are. Cadian only has a USP anyway, but that's more than enough to deal with. Hudgy, he's going to pick up the weapon as well, and he hasn't been avenged on just yet. Surely we're not going to see this back and forth, this fulcrum of CS go in the favor of the really poor buy. And it is! And they keep 4 players alive. What am I witnessing? Rogue refused to lose.
That was just so unfortunate that that smoke came in the way that it did. It looked like they were actually going to check the corner Cadian was in, but then a smoke got thrown that kind of pulled the attention of that long A player, which just allowed a perfect like gap in timing for Cadian to be able to step out. Look, you can see that Hutchie was looking that direction when the smoke comes in. That allows Cadian the time to check out, and he picks up that AK was also really huge, as you noted. So again, all these force buys are coming through for the respective teams that are using them. So it really has just turned into kind of a messy game at this point. Really no one in full control, it seems like, at this point. Every time someone you think has an advantage, it just goes the other way. Now we see Vega Squadron again trying to force the issue here, but gets caught. Great play there from Victor. And now we can just kind of hold position at party. He knows Fountain is clear. This gives his team a lot more freedom to move around the map.
It certainly hasn't been top-tier Counter-Strike, but it's definitely been entertaining to watch. Back and forth, typically the pistol forces, or even just ecos, have been reigning dominant. We do have more assault rifles on the field right now than pistols, at least primary pistols. Just Chopper with his deagle. He did land 2 1-deags, though, early when they aggressed on A with the same weapon. So don't hold him off just yet. Victor does finally get the kill.
It was a nice little bait and switch play. You see Tensky was actually pulling the attention at middle, which kind of, you know, left them not realizing that Victor was still kind of lurking around the party area. And so he gets kind of a backstab kill for free. So well played by Rogue, just good teamwork. And now they have such an advantage. They have a 5-on-3. It's going to be so difficult for Vega Squadron to find it now. There's going to have to be some key shots coming in. And there's one of them right there that's going to help you out.
Wow, that could potentially open up the bomb plant. We can see that Glace is behind the B site, but he's in no position to stop it unless he comes up to his left-hand side, and in doing so, that could push him in danger. But Chopper switches to a grenade that's going to cost him his life, and potentially Vega Squadron around now as Mia and Kashanda are getting up close and personal. Not really the right time to do it. 1 HP to Kashanda. Mia's going to go in with the Galil, and it seems like they've pretty much given up the chase on this round, or have they? I thought for a second that Mia was going to back off with his Galil and not bother with this, as they're both so incredibly low. That bomb's still not been defused. Somehow, some way, they're going to be able to pull off a couple more kills, but the bomb was defused just beforehand, and Kashanda's going to die afterwards. Unfortunate, but I was surprised it took the CTs that long to finally just go ahead and hold down the defuse.
I guess they were just always wondering if Kashanda was going to risk it and come through the smoke. You did see them actually do a little bit of a body block there. Kashanda was so close stopping that from the defuse from happening, by the way. That was really crazy stuff. And Vega Squadron, with that bomb plan, it gives them enough to kind of do a bit of a force here. Like, you see Galil and an AK come out on Mir. Cadian, though, going to be able to start himself with that op early on. Doesn't spot anything. Draws back really early. Doesn't want to hold position for too long.
And even with the bomb plant Vega, their economic struggles continue. Galil, AK, a couple of Deagles, P250. Won't write them off, though, the way this game's been going. On the other side, Rogue. Very much more comfortable. Orb for Cadian. He has been quite quiet with it, but we've seen a couple rounds where he's pulled off 3Ks with a weapon on B site. Maybe he has that in his locker one more time. Vega, very slow on the approach this time. Just Mia, who's in a forward position.
Yeah, he's just kind of riding up in the corner, maybe just hoping that someone might actually push Monster and he can get a free kill on someone, just not expecting them to be hidden up there. But you can see that Rogue are very disciplined in this round. They're really not looking to force anything, looking just to kind of sit back, wait for Vega to make the move. Which they're starting to run out of time. They're starting to get down to the bottom 30 seconds of the round, so at some point they're going to have to group up and do something. It seems like B is what they're looking to do. They have Glace watching short, but Bubble's going to be able to draw attention from barrels, and that's when Glace can perhaps double back, turn around, and get some frags, and there he goes.
As soon as that flash landed, it was the green light, but Mir comes through with 2 entries out of thin air, and he's still relatively healthy. The bomb is going to get planted, and now Victor, Tensky, and Cadian have got a huge amount of work on their shoulders, especially considering that we are towards the nitty-gritty stage of this best of one. Kashanda has been holding the close angle with his Galil, puts Tensky down with these. Hutchie is going to go down next to the hands of Cadian, but it's not enough for Rogue. They're going to concede the round, and surprise, surprise, it's going to consist of a P250 and a Deagle.
Yeah, I mean, the only guns they had on that round was a Galil and then the AK that was in Mir's hands, and boy, did he make a play with it. Those 2 kills in the B-bomb site changed everything. I mean, up until that point, it looked like Rogue were sitting pretty, but once he was able to break open that B-bomb site, it just kind of was just a domino effect at that point, because Vega are able to push into Graffiti. They're able to cut Rogue from being able to rotate and get in position to try to set up a retake, and now all of a sudden, Rogue has something to work with. You're going to see Vega try to take full advantage of that. They know there's no utility for Rogue to use. They're just going to rush through monsters. No smokes or incendiaries to stop them.
In actual fact, that smoke may end up hurting them more than it would afford them to getting through onto the site. Doesn't quite work out that way. Glace was only good for the 1 kill. M4 for Victor. And Tensky comes up to Heaven to have a grenade greet him straight to the face. And Mia will finish him off. I was going to say or not, because that was a little bit too dodgy, but still finally got himself the kill. Victor going to try and save onto the M4. This would mean that Rogue need to win the next 3 rounds after this to tie us up into overtime.
It's kind of crazy how close this game has been, but you consider it's close because teams like can't seem to maintain control. Like every time they actually get an economic advantage, somehow they still lose to a force buy. Particularly in the second half, it's been quite back and forth, but Vega Squadron seem to really be getting to a good place now, right? They're going to get this into 15 to 12. Money, still questionable for Rogue at this point. They don't even get to save that gun on the Victor either. It goes down, so Vega, they're well set up to kind of prove that, hey, that E-League major qualifier, that wasn't all we have. Like, we are a team to keep an eye on, so to speak. So this is a good, opening statement thus far, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We still have a few rounds left to play. This still could go into overtime, I suppose, but when you look at what Rogue is working with right now, it's definitely not looking promising for them.
It's asking a lot for Rogue to win out the next 3 rounds here. They have got 4 5.7s and a CZ, but again, Vega Squadron calling the bluff, rushing straight to B. No hold up. Throwing the nades out to make sure that the likes of Barrels Toxic has been cleared. And then the bomb will be planted shortly after. Smoking the site, they are using every caution on the approach. but it's still aggressive. Kashandra, in the meanwhile, is going to be holding down Connector, making sure any quick rotations are dealt with in equal measure. JR does catch a glimpse of a couple players jumping through on the backside. That flashbang will keep all three of them at bay, and even though he's flashed, he is going to come through with 2 kills. Looking for a third one's not going to happen. Glace a bit too strong on the trigger. Cut! What? Kaden with 2 CZ frags? What's going on here? Surely this round should be falling in the favor of Vega.
Not like
and also
this.
Kashandra, who's been tagged up so heavily. There's a kit in the meanwhile. That Molotov is going to bank off the walls, going to keep the CTs busy for a few more seconds. Glace is holding onto the defuse, and Rogue are going to have it as well. Vega, partially due to Cadian, have lost a round that should never go the way of the CT.
That was so insane how rapidly that went south. Man, it was looking like Vega had it locked up, and Cadian comes through with those 2 CZ kills, and I don't know who else it was, but there was a third pistol frag that happened pretty much simultaneously, and I mean, that round shifted so quick. Absolutely incredible stuff. Luckily for Vega, they're still able to get a nice full buy, and again, very uncharacteristic of CIS region. You're seeing them not, work this slowly. They're looking to pressure B as quickly as possible. Cadian, though, looking to challenge early on. He misses a shot. He's going to get chased down by Chopper. And so that's going to help out Vega loads at this point. They have a very early 5-on-4.
That's the issue with that position, though. If you miss a shot, you're basically a dead man if anyone's rushing you. There's nowhere near enough time to relocate. It would take a huge whiff on the T's part. So Cadian may be a bit carried away after his previous heroics with the CZ. That's one hell of a poor way to start this round as far as Rogue are concerned. Look at it. Molotov and Flash. That's all Rogue have for the next minute and 10. How do you even attempt to win out this round? I guess they have to play aggressive, looking for some information, but that could end up hanging themselves.
And they do still maintain control of Connector here, and they also do have Glaze pushed up with Victor. So they will be able to pretty quickly rotate to B, but they still have to have the initial B defense come up with something. Glaze looking to see if he can find a frag, but has to back off. But Tensky is going to be able to get Mir down, and Glace does find one as well. So they're hanging in here, 3-on-2.
Huge kills by Glace. The spray on point. Still Chopper and JR alive. And speaking of Chopper, he has struck. Glace goes down. He was already weakened. And there's another one for Chopper. I was about to say, both players in Connector, and Tensky actually gets the drop because Chopper had no idea they're going to double stack that. Jar's going to be playing aggressively with the AWP, and he actually misses out on his shot, but Tensky can't punish him. Switches across to the AK-47. He's just trying to shoulder peek as much as possible. Jarvis again! Tensky! Oh my goodness, that whiff! He does get it, but that was a squeaky butt moment if ever you've seen one. I got one, I wasn't even playing.
You couldn't fit dental floss through that thing at that point, man. Like, he was absolutely just feeling the pressure, I am sure, man. I'm sure that was not a fun time. He was definitely not in his happy place in that particular moment as that got real quick. I mean, he was doing the great thing like Jiggle Peeking trying to bait out the op shot, but just wasn't quite landing that spray as efficiently as he wanted to. But he did win the round, okay? So at the end of the day, the job is done, and we may be seeing our first overtime of the tournament. This has by far been the most competitive map we've seen thus far in this event. Been a pleasure to watch. Oh, do they know Tensky's here? Probably not.
And they don't even get Victor. He gets both the frags. Oh, Vega, have you tilted? I am curious, have they tilted here? I really hope not. Either way, Rogue. They came back in a pistol round with Cadian's majestic CZ work. Tensky's, well, it wasn't the greatest CS, but he got it done, as you said. Calculated, muttered under his breath, I'm sure. Now Mia going to be aggressing onto the site. He's by himself, but he does get the drop onto Bubble. And there's the second one. Mia has equalized the odds. The previous skirmish in Connector is no longer important, and Mia may be able to get a third. No, Tensky is too tall an order. JR with the plant is going to go straight headfirst into bank. Tensky's waiting, picks up a second frag. It looks like we're heading to overtime. The bomb is planted. It's not for Chopper, though, so he's going to have to traverse around the very murky waters of A. It's planted for the bank side. There's the first one. Has no idea where the second two are. Very nearly lands a second headshot. And there it is. Oh, Chopper! The 1-on-3 clutch is real, and Rogue's dreams have been shattered.
What the hell has this match been? What is it doing? It's just a roller coaster ride that we're experiencing right now. as so many times it looked like it could go either way. That round looked like it was going to send us to overtime, but to no avail. Mir, 2 really incredible frags to give his team a chance, and then Chopper shuts it down with the clutch in a 1 versus 3. That'll definitely be a highlight reel moment, I'm sure. That's definitely going to put a hard, like, mental state on Rogue, you got to feel like. Just so well played, isolating it into one-on-ones the entire way through. It doesn't get much closer than that. What a game.
And it's so fitting that Chopper is the man to land a 3K at the end to tie it up when he was so instrumental on their comeback on that CT side. Time and time again, he was picking up 2, 3Ks on the pillar on B. He was a monster. But that's got to be heartbreaking for Rogue. After coming back there thinking, okay, we have the overtime, it's a 3v1, the bomb's planted on the wrong side for the terrorists to lose. I can't imagine what's going through their heads right now.
It was going to be heartbreaking for either team that lost that. Just considering how that second half played out, both those teams, like, even though Vega won, they're not going to be happy about it. There was so many forced buy rounds, you know, anti-ecos that didn't go the way that they should have. And that goes for both teams. So definitely a very messy game, but also some really cool highlight moments. Like Kashander had that really big quad kill coming out of connector. We have Chopper with the 1v3. Mir had some big plays as expected. So he continues to impress. It's one of the guys that we really like looked at from the E-League Major Qualifier and really saw some value there, like some real potential. He still seems to be living up to that. And the question was, will anybody else be able to like consistently frag next to him? And guys like Kashander, guys like Chopper, I mean, they really did show up to this game. So, you know, props to Vega Squadron. Like, coming to this event, we didn't really know what to expect. We only had a couple of games at that E-League Major Qualifier to go off of to really kind of assess this team. But after watching this match, I mean, you really got to like what you're seeing.
Absolutely, and let's hear from the players' perspectives. Pala has an interview lined up for us on the stage. Take it away, Pala.
Not quite a player's perspective. I'm with Alex, the manager, but maybe he can shed some light on exactly what was going through the minds of Vega Squadron. That match, like you just said, off air before the camera came on to us, was an absolute roller coaster, was it not?
Yeah, that's true. There was like the craziest roller coaster you can even imagine. I mean, many ups and downs for both teams. Taken fourth rounds, lost fourth rounds, clutches, everything. But we managed to win. That's the only thing that matters.
Why do you think those rounds played out the way they did? They seemed so volatile, like anything could happen. And like you just said, there were those rounds where you guys should have won a round, or they should have, but it flipped around and then it just ended up being absolutely crazy.
Well, I don't know, maybe that's just the matter of the first game being played for us and for Rox, so maybe, I don't know, some nerves or just not that confident, but yeah, it happens in Counter-Strike, so that's why we love this game.
Of course, no doubt. Could you expand a bit about your players? Because you guys are, again, one of the teams here, like many of the teams here, kind of on the rise. You guys were close to qualifying for the major. You had like a decent run there, and you showed that you have some talent. And it seems here you do have those players really standing out. For instance, Mar and Chopper, who are playing very well. Could you tell us a bit about the team?
Yes, so we're playing for like 4 months already, but the guys, 4 of them, expect Chopper, were playing for almost 2 years before, so we have quite a team, as you would get this word. So we're just trying to play like a team, and it's the only thing that matters. I mean, every player can have a bad or a good game, so it doesn't matter after all. It only matters if a team wins, so that's it.
Yeah, of course. And now your next challenge will be Flipside, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure I'll be corrected otherwise. It is, indeed. And so that is potentially one of the toughest challenges here. One of the best teams here. What are your thoughts on those guys as an opponent, and do you think you can take them in a best of 3?
Well, we'll see, but if I'm not mistaken, we're playing best of 1.
Oh, is it still the best of 1? Okay, fair enough. Apologies. Then in a best of 1 star, nonetheless. Flipside as an opponent.
Yeah, it's a tough opponent, a very interesting team to play. They have a great captain, great players, and I think it'll be a good match for both players and viewers, so let's see what happens.
All right, it's going to be a very hard-fought battle, I'm sure. And Alex, congratulations on that matchup, 16-14. It couldn't have been closer, and we will see you later in the competition. For now, though, let's head back to Red Eye and get the opinions of our analysts on that absolutely insane matchup that we just witnessed.
Yes, thank you very much, Pala. Yes, an absolute roller coaster for both teams, no doubt. Nevertheless, Vega Squadron do move through to play Flipside in the winners bracket game. What do you make of that? Bit
I
nuts.
think, yeah, well, the end of the second half took away from, you know, how one-sided it was looking in the beginning there.
Yeah.
In that first half, I think Rogue had the advantage. They were 5-0 up, and then that sixth round, they made like an entry kill onto B. They had the number advantage, and then they were just waiting, and it was perfect. As they were setting up to re-execute on that B site, I think it was Mia, the Shroud lookalike, he pushed out, made 2 kills, and that turned the game around. From that point, they won... was it 6 in a row or 7 in a row? And then, you know, Rogue closed out the half. But the end there, back and forth, teams winning rounds they shouldn't win constantly. They need to go to Threat's anti-eco school, I think.
Yeah, it was a roller coaster for us to watch. Very fun for us to watch. Can't have been much fun to play, no?
To be fair, Threat's anti-eco school has so many reservations for years to come. I think the only way it's going to work out is if he raises tuition to, like, I don't know, like 100 grand a year. Because otherwise the supply and demand just aren't going to meet. And that was a great game to watch. There's so many back and forth rounds. There's obviously lots of mistakes. That was why a lot of those rounds went the way they did. I mean, you don't lose that 3v1 at the end. If you're Vega, you don't lose that anti-eco round going to B. If you're Rogue, you don't lose the following anti-eco round while Vega rushes you into A. There's a lot of sort of sketchy play there. But, you know, for Vega, this is probably their first game ever playing in front of a reasonable stage, I would guess.
Yeah,
like I mean, they're not very experienced team. Rogue obviously a little bit more, but they're also probably a little under pressure from being the favorites in this matchup in the eyes of themselves, certainly, I would expect. So sketchy play at times, but it was fun to watch. I mean, lots of back and forth rounds. You couldn't really have imagined a closer game than that. I certainly wouldn't have.
Let's bring up some replays for you and show you some of the highlights if you did miss it, and talk us through this one, gents.
Well, Chopper for me was a bit of a turret at that B site. There was multiple occasions where he was behind this pole and he was made 2 to 3 frags and locked down that, even when they were down the number advantage. In this middle part of the game where Vega strung some rounds together, these individual performances is what pushed them through, because Rogue were finding the early kill and then they were playing the rotation well, but multi-frags and stepping up like that by the players on the Vega side was basically huge for them stringing anything together.
Yeah, and you can see it meant an awful lot to Chopper and the boys.
Chopper was the guy who carried them in the NIP game, I think, as well, at the major qualifier in Atlanta a month ago. So he's certainly playing well, but he wasn't even actually the best performing player statistically on his team. He got a lot of help from his teammates. I think it was Mur. And if we just get the...
Yeah, if we bring up the stats right now, and we can have a look.
Take a look. Yeah, Cassandra was the top player, and I think Mur was the other one.
There we go.
In the end,
at the top of it.
Finished 26, 26, 25.
Pucci actually had a fairly weak showing.
Indeed.
Someone said shocker.
But, I mean, if you have three players in a 16-14 game with close to 30 kills, then that just means that there's not going to be kills for everybody.
Exactly, yeah. Something
just
I
how
want to
the
touch
math
on
works.
was the aggression by Rogue on their CT side. They were very aggressive towards that A bomb site early, and then a lot of the rounds you'd see Vega, they were just all 5 members over towards that B site. It wasn't like a normal spread that you'd see on the T side. And then when they had aggression coming in from B, when they knew it was going to be a set execute, the players from Rogue would push out behind through connector, and it would actually, it wouldn't work in their favor because they were waiting for it, and it looked like Vega wanted to fake anyway. So they're in the middle of running back, running into each other, and Vega came out on top.
Yeah, very interesting matchup. How do you think they'll fare going further? Got to play flip side now. It's a best of 1 again, so
it's really hard to tell because first, it's a domestic matchup, right? And obviously the manager of Vega had plenty of respect for Blade there at the end of the interviews, that they have a great leader. That was the first thing he said when he talked about flip side, is they have a great leader. That was the very first thought. So it's a domestic matchup. They should certainly know how Blade plays, and again, it's a nice contrast of styles. So Flipside is obviously the super structured team. They play according to Blade's plan, blah, 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 like we talked about before. And then Vegas, the other end of the spectrum. So it's going to be fun to see how they match up, especially because as domestic players, they should be fairly familiar with each other. And that always adds like a little bit extra tension of... It's probably easier for Vega to play this matchup if they're aware of each other, because Blade and those guys are the ones who are going to be worried of, hey, they know how we like to play. We're going to have to adjust, whereas Vega's probably not overthinking it. I would guess they don't overthink many things in their game. They probably more so just go with the flow, and that's basically what you need to do. Because the bigger mistake often in these games, from my experience and from what I've taught. Most people tend to agree from having spoken with players, is when you start adjusting too much. It's not that the other team knows what you do, it's when you start doing things you actually aren't comfortable doing. That's the big mistake.
Yeah, actually, does cause an awful lot of bother with some of the teams. How do you think that the change will work for Flipside? You heard Blaze saying earlier on, they want to mix things up. They don't want to be as predictable as they were before. Is that going to play into this? Is this the perfect opportunity for them to test it out?
In the long run, it'll be beneficial for them. For this situation, though, from what I saw from Vega, the way that they were playing their T rounds, it wasn't like a spread default and then make a mid-round call. It seemed like they knew what they wanted to do when they were leaving spawn. You know, they were basically going like and stacking on areas and then executing from there, which is hard to adapt to, right? Because you don't have any tells. So unless you're willing to be aggressive on your CT side, which Rogue were, you're not going to have any information, and then you're going to be executed on by 4 to 5 guys, which can be a struggle. It'll depend on the map and to see how Vega plays. Once again, we don't have too much history on them to be able to say if this is how they play every map. Overpass might have been uncomfortable for them. So you're just going to have to wait and see, I think.
All right, okay. Well, we're going to take a break. No, go.
Add one more thing.
Yep.
I would not rule out the fact that Flipside could just be saying they want to mix things up, they want to change things. Players sometimes tend to say what they want other people to think.
Sure.
And when we talk about this and it gets picked up, people talk about it on Reddit, they make threads about it. It becomes the new norm. It's like, oh, Flipside is changing their style. They're not actually playing like that. And for, say, like for like a tier 1 team who don't really focus on Flipside, they focus on the Navis and Astrologis of the world, they're going to think, oh, well, we don't really need to watch their demos if they're changing stuff anyway. So it's a real thing. I mean, from the past, I can give you an example. Neo's team back in 1.6, for about a year, they used to tell all the other teams they practiced against that they just played Tuscan, so they don't want to play Tuscan in the next scrim. And they never play Tuscan in tournaments. For a year, they got away with some teams vetoing Tuscan against them, even though they never played it, just because they just went along with this like sort of lie where even in interviews they would say like, oh, we're prepared on Tuscan. People just don't want to play it against us. And some would buy that.
Yeah, incredible. Good old mind games, good old-fashioned mind games. We are headed to a break right now. Of course, we're looking forward to 2 more best-of-1 games today, the final group games, which will see 1 team from each group qualify for the semi-finals. Of course, Flipside will see them a little bit later on against Vega in our final game of the day. Just a quick reminder for you, all of our social media channels are open to you right now. We'd love to hear from you, see your pictures from the events and also your thoughts and comments on the matches so far. Use the hashtag #DHOpen if you're going to do the tweets as well. And we will be back very shortly with another game. This time it's a winner's bracket match. Heroic going head-to-head with LDLC for a place in the semi-final. We'll see you in a few.